Hi everybody, it is Mama Radha and I am back. I feel so much better. Thanks to my love and master. He took such good care of me when I was feeling sick. It was awful. I was like a blob on the couch. That would be, I think, the third strand of the coof that I've gotten. Whatever the most recent one is. And yeah, it wasn't fun, but luckily, the kids had it for like a day and then they were fine. And then my husband took care of me, and then I was feeling better and he wasn't feeling well. So at least we got to kind of trade. So it worked out. But yeah, I'm trying to play some catch up. And I just figured, I would tell you guys one of the videos I saw recently that I shared, Mr. Samuel's video, had a married woman. It was like 2 hours and 30 minutes into the 3-hour show. God bless. And basically, it was one of those good lessons for married women. Like, basically, she had a 3% guy, height, money, all these things. He's a good guy. And she's taking him for granted. She weighs too much, and she knows she weighs too much. She hasn't made it a priority. She questions him, which sounds like is one of his biggest issues. Is he's like, who's the leader? And she's like, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And she giggles and giggles and giggles through the whole thing. And then she'll be like, because he's like, nah, and women like to play coy, like they don't know what the truth is. And maybe sometimes they are delusional, but in this case, it was like, nah, you just don't want to admit that you're not surrendering, you're not submitting to your husband. And she used the fact that she was a journalist as a reason, like, oh, that's why I ask a lot of questions. Well, you can ask a lot of questions about anything that you want, but not questioning your husband. That's completely different. And, it's emasculating. And Mr. Samuels was just saying how sad it is that for men to see that even a top percent guy is getting treated this way. He comes, home to an overweight wife who runs everything basically, and questions him. And he says, we're going left. And she'll be like, well, did you think of all the reasons, the pros and cons, and this, that, and the other? And, maybe in the beginning, women can get away with that kind of stuff with their husbands, but you've been married 10 years, 20 years. That should not even be a thing, because that's just completely disrespectful. So, and then what else did he say on that call? It was a very, very, very good educational call. Ooh, the moon's so big tonight. Anyway. So her questioning was a big issue. Her weight, that she wasn't taking it seriously. So basically she just showed that she was taking him for granted. And that's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. I was telling, my husband was on the phone with one of his dear friends, we've all been friends since like high school. I don't get involved with their conversations, maybe once in a blue moon. And he was on speaker, and what was he's recently divorced. God bless his soul. He stayed with this woman way too long. But anyway, and basically I was like, honey, listen, you're thinking about the dating market from the wrong perspective. You are a top percent man. You have your choice. Pretty women are a dime a dozen, and you don't need to settle for anybody that's got any severe issues. Okay, so it's like, and even if you haven't made the money yet, men should have that mindset, like, I'm a winner, I'm a champion, and I'm not settling. It's always women that are like, oh, I'm not settling. Well, how about the men have their own standards, and they're not just going to be settling? Because these chicks today can meet them online and they'll come over and sleep with you the first night. That is not wifey material, I'll just tell you right now. So maybe you're having fun. Wrap it up. But anyway, it's crazy. So good luck out there. But anyway, oh gosh, I digress so far. But the point is that a man has a lot of options. Again, we outnumber them and all that kind of stuff. if you're good looking, you don't even have to be tall. I know some good looking guys in our family that are single that have no problem. So, it is what it is. But anywho, as far as, a married woman should keep in mind that she's getting older by the day, by the year, and we're supposed to improve as we get older with the level of our care, with the level of our knowledge and understanding of the world and how to care for our husband and our family. One of the shows that we've been watching recently is called The Last Kingdom. Vikings is the best, first of all, best series ever. And then we watched The Last Kingdom, Uhtred and all this stuff. And so, based on some historical things, and some of it's made up and whatever. But one thing that stood out to me is when the king dies in the part of the series, King Alfred, his wife tells the children that are now adults, in the beginning, I didn't love your father because he acted in the way, as a young man, he acted as a young man would, basically. I'm trying to think of the exact words, but that's the idea. As a young man, he acted like a young man. And then as he got older and things went along, she realized she did love him. And their love grew, and, and he calmed down and things changed, basically, paraphrasing. And I just, I thought about that because I talk about it sometimes, how so many women of the older generation, that stuck with the church, stuck with prayer. We know that their husbands were wild, when they were young. They were out, they were playing cards all night, they were drinking, they were, at the saloon, so to speak, and the women, they really gave the women a run for their money, but they hung in there and continued to love them, the way that Christ would want a bride to love her husband. And eventually they calmed down, they got it out of their system, and they now, if you met them, you'd think they're the most godly, Christian, church-going men that serve in the community, and they're just perfect guys, you know what I mean? But you don't know them when they were wild and rough, so that's just a general, seems to be kind of, I don't want to call it a rule for life, but just kind of the general way of men. Do all men calm down and not need to run around so much? No, some men are always going to be that way, or they have so many options that that's just the life that they want to live. But predominantly, majority of my life, I've seen that men, because they love their families, they eventually get it into focus where, okay, I only have so much energy, I only have so much time and resources, I'm going to focus it on my family. So, and the thing is that young women today do not want to have to go through any kind of process, any kind of growing pains or learning curves, or, or stick with their man while their man's going through whatever he's going through until he's the man that you believe that he is someday. You know what I mean? And that's really sad, because a lot of women miss out on good men because they're not willing to stay and work it out. Again, not somebody that's coming home drunk and smacking you around the house all over the place and you fear for your life, and not ridiculous. But it might be some rough nights, and it is what it is. I have another friend who she regrets to this day, and when I listen to her talk about it, it makes me cry. And basically, what happened with her is that when she started going to church, she wanted her husband to go to church with her, and he didn't want to go. And she kept pushing it down his throat, pushing it down his throat, pushing it down his throat. And she drove him away. And next thing you know, he was having an affair, and he had a girlfriend. And next thing you know, he moved out. And the lady came and was in her face like, yeah, I got your man, and that's not fun. And they had 4 kids together and all that. And she says to this day, I wish I had not got a divorce. I wish I had waited it out, prayed, and tried harder to make it work. But I was so hurt and so in my feelings and so upset that I just was like, nah, I'm not going to put up with this, and God bless her. She said divorce was the worst thing that happened to her family. And she's a wonderful woman. She's been single all these years. And again, I know lots of women that are in their 50s, 60s that are like, I'm so tired of being single. And it is just hard to find a husband at that age, or you got to be looking for older men that are willing to, dote on you, and at least you guys can work together to the end of your days, and some of them will take care of you. Just depends. So, but all I'm saying is, it is rough to wait to your later years to try to secure a man. It just is what it is. So basically, one of the things that Mr. Samuels told that wife was, what are you waiting for? Matter of fact, he said, what if your husband came home and gave you divorce papers? She goes, oh, well, I'd get the weight off right away, because I'm going to have to be back out there and I got to look my best. And he's like, how sad is it that if you have to go look good for another man, you drop that weight right away? But to look good for your husband, you're dragging your feet and you're taking your time. And I was like, wow, so by the end of the call, he's like, I don't know what else to say. Is it going to take him having an affair, going to Becky, whatever, to get you to wake up and see what you're doing to him, and how you can lose it all. And it's like, you don't want to be in that position. You don't. And I'll just say that my one friend, she's like a big sister to me, told me when I started going to church, don't push your husband into it, is some of the best advice I ever got. Don't try to force any kind of religion on him or anything like that. And I just kept going because it was helping me be a better wife and mother. It was kind of like my first red pill. And I would take the children by myself. It is what it is. I went and I learned and I took notes and sat on the front row and, just did what I had to do. Occasionally my husband would come. If we had some family nights, he would come. And certain events he would come. But he didn't want to be told what to do. And I'm so grateful for that. And it took about 18 years. And then I was like, my prayers were answered, because he was like, okay, we're going to church, family, and we're going here. And he picked the church and he decided that that's what we were going to do. Basically, COVID happened and then everything shut down, and we just kind of got way off track on all that. We were kind of disillusioned as well. But anywho, it's all good. It's still better for families to go to church than not to go to church. The principles are still good. You're worshiping God. All that's good. So anyway, but I took heed of her warning, and I'm so grateful for that. So more women need to be teaching younger women that stuff, instead of saying, oh, girl, if he doesn't go to church, then he's not a godly man and you should just leave him and find another one, or whatever these chicks are out here saying. No, Bella. It's the advice that women are getting today is downright dangerous. It is, what's the word? Reckless. You're putting families at risk of being wrecked, destroying families, basically. And anyway, so it's like, if you continue whatever your behavior is and look down the road, what's your situation going to be like? Is it going to be improved with the behavior, in your actions and what you've been doing, or is it going to build up, and there's going to be resentment and things are going to go bad? So you have to look at the two different paths that you have in front of you. And, what was the other thing I was going to tell you guys about? Oh man, this other call, it had, it's Mr. Samuels. It was after the Average or Best Girl video took off, and it was Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he had a panel, and the thing that he said was just ridiculous. He's like, it sent chills up my spine, and I'm like, dude, this guy. But anyway, but the first woman was tripping, but the rest of the women on there were pretty awesome. They were very real, and they're like, nah, he was telling the truth. And one lady on there, I wish I knew who she was. She runs a wife school. It's like my dream. I was like, oh my God. And basically parents pay her, their organization, they're on 3 different continents, $15,000 to $30,000. They send their daughters over there, and they literally train them how to be a wife. They have a culinary cooking class. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I was like, that's it right there. I wish that I could create something like that here. Even an online version. But, right now I'm just working one-on-one with whoever asks me for help. I'm just here, and I'll give you my time and my knowledge as best as possible, to help you move along and whatever. But something official would be really awesome, because that way it's a blueprint, you can pass it down, etc., etc. But I thought, wow, that is really fantastic. And I loved her answers and what she said about everything. And she's like, these parents expect their daughters to make good matches and have well-to-do marriages. And I was like, oh man, the times of old when women were, they learned instruments, and they learned, they read, might be a mistake, but they learned for the purpose of bringing peace, entertainment. Again, they could play music for guests, they could read poetry for guests, they could, show artwork that they've done, their cooking skills, so that they brought all their gifts and talents and served their husband with them, served their family with them. And a lot of families were very musical. My mother's family, everybody in their family sang or played an instrument, and every night, they would get together and they would sing, and my father's side, also very musical, in music and all these things have become like a lost art. It's really true. I mean, I learned how to play the clarinet and the piano when I was younger. It's been so long, and I'm sad about that. They're just wonderful gifts that I remember. Christmas time and things like that, we'd get together with the family, my aunt's house, and everybody get together. And my dad and myself, he'd play the piano, I'd play the clarinet, and we'd play all these different Christmas carols and things. And it brings a different level of the spirit of togetherness and joy and celebration when you can actually play those things yourself or sing those things yourself, versus just playing music off of your phone or the radio or whatever. I mean, I'm just saying it is a lost art these days, I feel like. But anywho, boy, I don't know, probably way off track, but I guess I just wanted to tell you guys about some of the things that I had heard that I enjoyed. There have been a lot of great shows lately. I just keep sharing them all. Whatever is good for whoever, there you go. So, on a fun note, okay, so part of the reason why the wifey call got me is because it's like, my husband hurt his arm at the beginning of this year doing the floors, putting wood floors in, moving furniture and all that stuff. And then he was working. We have not gone to the gym in months. Like, this is the first time since he had like maybe a life-threatening injury or something happened like that where he hasn't been to the gym in months, because he's been very consistent since he's 14 years old, and he pretty much always just looks like, a Hulk. So I'm up and down, struggle. For the most part, I've done a good job looking decent, but I've had a couple very rough years. So anyway, so what's the point? Oh, so then with the combination of not going to the gym anymore and then quitting my cigars and whatever, wine and stuff that I was still drinking here and there, it really, my weight, I was like, oh my gosh. So when I was listening to that message, I was like, okay, it's a mindset. And I don't want to take my husband for granted. I don't want to be like, oh, I have this excuse and that excuse and I just quit smoking. No, I didn't just quit smoking. That was 7 months and 1 week tomorrow. Yay. And then we were sick and whatever, but I'm like, no, it's time. And he got like a little beer belly. He's so cute because to me, he's just sexy as anything. It doesn't matter. He's got the gray, in his beard, and he's so sexy. Anyway, so, and he's still little beer belly, grain beard, which I told him they love the gray in the beard anyway, but he's getting hit on by the nurse while I'm in the room, squeezing his muscle before the, doing his blood pressure and saying, wow, you must go to the gym. And he's like, actually, we haven't been there in months. And, and she's like, wow, you look so good, blah, 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 da, da. And he's like, I felt very uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, honey. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's my daddy, And I was happy for him. I was proud of him. I was like, good. I want you to know that it's not just me that thinks you're sexy. You're fine, man, because it's important for his ego, his psychological psyche, his welfare to know that he's attractive, and because he's tired. And I've teased him a little bit. And the other week I said, okay, honey, it is time to get ready to go back to the gym. As soon as we feel better, blah, blah, blah. Like this right before we got sick, I think. And I was telling him that, do you need a girlfriend? Like, do you need some motivation? And he goes, no, don't start with me, And he's like, I told you, it's a headache, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So then today when he went back to work, he's got a friend that brings in all the bad stuff, double stuffed Oreos and all this. And here I cook him like really healthy food, right? And I said, you tell your friend that I'm threatening you with a girlfriend that some little hot Latina that's going to blow her whistle in the morning and tell you what to do all day. And you'll be like, okay. And you're going to listen to her and that's going to piss me off. But, to get you healthy, get you motivated. And he goes, no, stop. And I thought we were both laughing because we're like, what kind of threat is that? If you take the snacks from your friend, I'm going to get you a girlfriend. What kind of threat is that? It's absolutely hilarious. So we had a good laugh about that. Of course, he was looking at me like I'm crazy, but it's all good. I was just doing a little bit of psychological warfare. Which is only because I know that he said he's just not ready for all that stuff. And I just thought it was funny. And I like to mess with him a little bit, I'm bad. But anyway, and I figured he'd get a kick out of telling his friend, hey, I can't eat your double stuffed Oreos. And my wife's threatening me with getting a girlfriend for me. I think it's awesome. So that's all good. It's all good. You guys already know I still ask him from time to time and ask him, you've been working so hard. Do you want to plan a guy's trip? Do you need to go away for a little while? He wants us to go away, but it's just, I don't know when. It's just been a rough year, but it's all good. The market's been crap. I mean, there's just been all this other stuff going on that's added so much stress to him. And it is what it is. But, we both agree. She got scared by a lizard. We both agree that whether we live in our big house or we live in a tent on the beach, if we're together, it's all good. We've had nothing and we've had a lot. It's fine. Our family is the most important thing to us. So that we agree on. So we'll see how it all goes. And I get stressed out about the world. The world's going absolutely insane. But, I'm going to try to focus on doing my good videos and try to encourage the women out here. All the benefits of being a wife, being a mother, about being submissive, yielding to your man pleasantly. It just gives you such a better life, a life of peace and joy, and things flow better, and that's why there's an order to things. And everything has order. And if you don't operate in order, you will have chaos. And that might be fun for some of you women that love the drama, but let me tell you what, ultimately you'll be miserable because the end result is not pretty. And men don't like to live in chaos. You know, they'll take times where, okay, this has happened, that's happened, they're understanding, but it's only for so long. They can't deal with that insane emotional ups and downs on a consistent basis. It's just too much for them, and it's not right. There's been plenty of times, my husband was like, listen, I work way too hard to deal with this crap, and and he's right. He works way too hard to have extra headaches from me about stupid stuff. It's just ridiculous. So anywho, this is probably way long enough, but I missed you guys, and I just wanted to say hi, and I'm so glad I feel better, and I'm grateful that the kids got it and got over it like in a day. And again, my loving husband took such good care of me. I mean, God bless his soul. I told my sister today he's a saint. She's like, well, I don't know about that. I'm like, no, he's a saint. He's a saint. He could have and do whatever he wants, and he just pours out his love to me. It's amazing. So I don't ever think about who's he texting. I don't think about, I'm going to get in his phone and see what's going on, where I'm going to look on TikTok and see, is he sending girls messages there? Or is he doing this here? Is he doing this there? It's foolishness. It is complete foolishness, and it's a waste of time, and it's an insult to your man. Because if you got a man that loves you the way he loves me, don't F that up. Don't F it up. Leave that man alone. I have learned that men need outlets for different things, and different men do it in different ways, and it literally means nothing. So anywho, and like I've told you guys before, things that threw me for a loop, broke my heart, freaked me all out, were actually nothing. And I believed him, then I didn't believe him, my mind was all crazy, and I was all a hot mess, and I ruined myself, put myself in a state of depression for 2 to 3 years. And that's why, don't cry. That's why I am so grateful to Mr. Samuels for covering all the topics he did, because it helped me to understand, even if those things that my imagination said happened, he loves me, treats me like a queen, has taken care of me my whole life, and will continue to take care of me even after he dies. So it gave me a different perspective. And that was critical to helping me get better. And I've talked about trying to see a therapist. I just thought I would elaborate a little bit on that. I have family that are alcoholics, and I was caring for them for a long time. That put a lot of stress on our marriage, on me, on my children, especially my daughter. My daughter did therapy for 9 months. I actually really couldn't find anyone. I wanted a male therapist, and I wanted to meet in person. And nobody would meet in person during COVID, and the amount of money they wanted to charge was ridiculous. So finally I found a woman, and the things I wanted to talk to her about, she was like, what are you talking about? There's no problems. I'm like, the world shut down. I'm all over here New World Order stuff, and she's just like, she couldn't, it was like, whoop. And I kept in mind that most women that are therapists are single, drink, usually on their own medication. But anyway, so basically she helped me as far as like an Al-Anon type of information to help me deal with the family members that were giving me so much stress. But I really couldn't talk to her about the other things that I was trying to work on. So I basically, my husband became my therapist, and that made me happy, because I told him, even if I could talk to this woman about are we going to get a second wife? Are we going to do this? All these things. She wouldn't even understand, the majority of women aren't going to. And I think I mentioned it to her one time, and she goes, oh, well, I'll just tell you that one of the persons that I was counseling, they did that and it ruined their marriage. And I said, well, I do actually know people. They live in little communities, and it works out very well. So the general thought is, oh no, they freak out. But I've watched people live that kind of life, and it can be very peaceful if things are in order and it's part of their spiritual beliefs or whatever. They have a good solid foundation. So she's like, huh, interesting. So she'd never heard anybody defend it or talk about it in a positive way, but I left it alone after that. But I appreciated my husband taking time to talk to me about all these different things and let me, kind of wonder and ask questions. And he constantly helped me, redirected me, reassured me. And the main thing he kept saying was, you're my queen. We ain't going nowhere. Our family is the most important thing. Whatever we do outside of that is whatever, but us is first, and basically. So, the therapy was very short-lived because she was really pretty much completely useless. She was more entertained by my stories than actually helpful. So, whatever. And again, she didn't think that I could quit or get through my problems without prescribing me antidepressants. And the funny thing is that she said that medical marijuana was more dangerous than the prescription drugs. And I was like, okay, now I know that you whack job. Because there's no way that that's true. But anywho, ultimately, I wanted to be clear-minded. I didn't want to waste Daddy's money because it was very expensive. And I wanted to be better. I wanted to live longer. Our third son has had learning disabilities. He didn't talk until he was 5. There's different theories on what happened because I was very sick, 8 months pregnant with him. They gave me Tamiflu and then later told me it can cause issues. And also his doctors, when he was younger, were giving him like 5 shots at one time. So anyway, all I know is he's got a heart of gold. He's the tallest of all his brothers. He's the biggest of all his brothers, but he's so gentle. And that's why I was saying the other day that he's been bullied his whole life, because he's a gentle giant. So, anywho, but he's doing good. He's doing good, and it's all good. So, blah, blah, blah. Enough rambling. I don't even know. Life is hard. Life is hard. It's full of challenges. You never know what you're going to have to deal with, but you have to have that commitment to work it out with your man. And the vows are for better, for worse, for richer or poor, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. And somewhere in there is you promise to honor, love, and obey your husband, and he's supposed to cherish you. Okay. So I just can't stand when women take that out of their vows. But anyway, I guess that's enough for now. It's a bunch of different topics, sort of. I tried to keep them somewhat related. I would love to do a wife school. I got to finish my book. So anyway, and then I guess the last thing I'll say to you guys is I was telling my sister, she's had a difficult time since she going through personal things. I'll leave it at that. But my middle sister, and I basically was telling her that, like back from the Herbalife days, all the personal development that we used to do, and that's pretty much how I ended up going to church. Jim Rohn was one of my first red pill teachers, Anyway, and basically the teaching was you envision the person that you want to be, right? The kind of life you want to have and all this, that. Your health, how you look, what you dress, you got to really, really focus. What do you want to look like? How do you want to sound? How do you want to carry yourself? And then you can even make a little vision board. There's some very good stats about people that actually write their goals down and make vision boards. A lot of those goals come to fruition. And then every day, act like you're already that person. Already, for example, okay, Radha wants to be president's team. What would a president's team member do today? You know, they would have their schedule written down. They'd get up first thing in the morning and take their shakes and their tablets, and they would get on the phone and they'd call their customers and they'd call their new potential leads or clients, or, you know, they would dress like this and they would act professional. So basically, you're walking out the person that you want to become like you're already that person, and it helps you to transform yourself into that person, if that makes any sense. And something that's a major Jim Rohn quote is like, success is not one huge event that just happens. It's daily disciplines practiced every day. Just the same way as that failure isn't one cataclysmic event. Well, it can be, but it's generally failures, bad habits every single day, repeated every single day, that leads to failure, you know? So basically, you know, he would always say you don't have to do 100 things every day, but you need to do about a half a dozen things every day. It will help keep you on the right track, you know, help lead you to success. So, you know, that works for whatever area of your life that you're trying to fix. And so for me right now, Mama needs to get fine. I need to look good for my daddy. And he always tells me I'm beautiful, but it's time. It's definitely time. It's time to let go of excuses, of any kind of excuses that I have. You know, all this, oh, I'm going to be 50 in 3 years. Okay, whatever. I'm still alive. I'm breathing. Use what God has given you to work with, right? Because it's only going to get harder. So I've been eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. That already makes me feel better. You know, and just the mindset is so important. And I'm trying to, oh, there's something. Bring my children along because, you know, they've gotten kind of used to just eating out, eating what they want, you know, even though I try to cook for them. They can be picky, you know, they're kind of at that age, and, you know, they make their own money, whatever. So they're like, yeah, I'll get what I want. But anyway, I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. I miss you all. And then pretty soon I'll do a live, and I don't know if you guys want to write me some questions that I can talk about. Since so many of my videos are gone, I don't even know what I have and what things I need to do new videos on. So anyway, ciao. Love you.